response to that by more jaded authors, like George R. R. Martin. Now, this counter-argument isn't all grimdark. At its most sophisticated, it's more of an attempt to humanize these otherwise mythologized heroes, to point out that the people who changed the world, even for the better, were still people, and thus probably at least kind of an asshole. Now, Tolkien and Martin are actually really good examples here, because for one thing, they both did a really good job presenting their worldview. For another, they're really not as opposed as people seem to think. And here's the kicker. They both delved into realism. Yeah, really. While Game of Thrones is much more low fantasy and low magic than Lord of the Rings, neither author shied away from the realistic human element of their respective adventures. George R. R. Martin doesn't shy away from showing the character pooping himself, but Tolkien also delved into some pretty intense psychological misery when he wrote Sam and Frodo struggling immensely to make their way through Mordor, tired and miserable and forgetting the taste of food. The scenario was fantastical, but the characters reacted in very realistic ways. And someone who fought in World War II would be pretty qualified to describe the malingering effects of dragging yourself through a war zone and forgetting what it felt like to be anywhere else. Plus, if you've ever read The Silmarillion, Tolkien's not exactly an idealist, and he certainly doesn't shy away from the gross stuff. There's plenty of incest and murder. They did base it on that. The only real difference between these two is the framing of the world. Tolkien's fantasy world can be saved. Heroism and moral righteousness pay off, and the good guys save the day. Martin, not so much. Delving into court intrigue and political power plays mean a lot more assassinations and a lot less actual good. Can this world be saved? I mean, probably, but not by any of these guys who are so caught up in their personal squabbles they literally can't agree if fighting the endless zombie death army is a good idea. While Martin fits the grimdark aesthetic more, he's really not as steeped into it as some people think, and the idealist high fantasy he's pitted against has a lot more in common with his work than some people would like to admit. Now, there's one very interesting thing about grimdark. Since the no real happy endings rule is pretty definite, that kind of rules out most plot-driven storytelling. It's hard to get an audience invested in the outcome if it's guaranteed to be unpleasant. In light of that, most grimdark narratives end up being either character-driven or theme-driven. You can get invested in characters no matter how morally dubious they might be, and a lot of grimdark stories sell us completely on the character endings and convince us to root for an ending that has no good impact on the world overall, but provides some kind of closure for the characters. The ending doesn't even really need to be that satisfying if it leaves us feeling the right kind of unpleasant. For instance, The Last of Us got the audience to root for Joel and Ellie to get along. From the beginning, we sympathize with Joel, but he still acts like a jerk, and we like Ellie because, let's face it, she was handcrafted to be sassy and lovable. This causes us to root for Joel's character development to make him less of a jerk because we want to see Ellie happy and she's invested in being nicer to her. And when Joel starts opening up, that lets us get invested in their dynamic and root for it to improve. Some grimdark goes even darker for the resolution. Various issues of Sin City successfully guide the audience to root for the protagonist to die. Yeah, it mostly works because the characters come across as very lost and purposeless except for their gritty determination to either murder somebody or protect somebody at all costs. They convince you over and over again that for these characters, dying after successfully doing their one thing is the only satisfying conclusion. How grim. And dark. And then there's theme-driven grimdark, where the characters are basically exemplary victims of the horrible
Alright, what's up everybody? It's CS Nazo. I am back with more Great Ace Attorney 2. In the last part, we continued our investigation into the second trial against Soseki, and in this part, we're gonna continue that trial. I'm gonna look through the court record for two reasons. One, if you don't examine everything in this game, it's gonna come back to bite you in a very, very stupid way. And two, I've kind of forgotten some things. 23rd Well, actually, yeah, 23rd of February, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. I'm gonna look through the court record. Armband, street map, pair of teacups, borrowed soap, envelope, crime scene photo, victim's medical report, the gas meter, handprints on the wall, hidden photograph, and capital offender article. I'm just trying to get this up right. Yep. There. That works. Okay. Is it gonna update again? Alright, we're gonna move on now. Step away, please. You are not a cat, Soseki. This is it. I'm sorry, this is it then, Mr. Naruhodo? 1 second. Yes, it's time to put an end to this now. To this miserable curse that's been plaguing Mr. Natsume. To everything. And in my own small way, I shall do everything I can to help you. I always appreciate your help, Mrs. Sato. Suffering! Soseki! Selfishly! Sidelined! Ah! That was not the right voice, but whatever. Good morning to you too, Mr. Natsume. Good morning! Good morning, locum student, Mr. Esquire, right out of second! Listen to you two chatting away happily as this is the main play of today's trials here! Why would you do that? Why? Oh dear, we didn't mean to cause offense, Mr. Natsume. I thought perhaps that because you had your eyes shut so tightly you were meditating, finding inner calm. It seemed wrong to disturb you. I was waiting! What's the matter, Mr. Natsume? You seem different somehow today. Why, naturally, that's because I've attained spiritual enlightenment. The path of literature, you see, is a journey to discover one's own death. Or such like that sort of morning conversation I was hoping for. That's why I had my eyes shut. I missed the signs, I'm afraid, somehow. You'll have to forgive me. You mustn't talk of your path leading you to death. Okay, for a second I thought that said leading to you death. That's what I thought it said, Mr. Natsume. That was just an example! Oh yes, there it is. Inner calm. You barely came to see me all yesterday! I was sure you'd abandon me and return to our beautiful long-lost homeland! We've not even been in Great Britain a week yet. Yes, well, anyway. I intend to set everything straight in court today. I'm determined to uncover the truth. I've actually reached an important decision myself. Oh? What sort of decision? I shall fill you in after the trial. Alright. It would seem Mr. Shulman isn't coming today after all. It's a very clever message, I think. My dear fellows, you must win this battle on your own merits. It's a very clear message, I think. I think he's overslept again. Sorry about that. God, I gotta just... The great detective? My arch nemesis. Long may he stay away, if you ask me. Defendant, and your legal representative. The trial is about to begin. Make your way into the courtroom immediately. Today, once again, we face the Reaper. And when the Reaper stands for the prosecution, the defendant's fate is sealed. But I don't believe in that legend, any more than I believe in Soseki-san's curse. 1 second, I have to sneeze. I'm better now. Okay, the truth is hidden somewhere, and I won't let it escape me. I have to keep believing in my client and keep fighting to the very end. That's all. (23rd of February, 9:40 a.m.) The Old Bailey courtroom. And everyone's back. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. Yes, the defense is ready. Very good. And now I call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury, chosen by lot to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to proceed? Absolutely! Justice will be done, you mark my words! I feel obliged to say, I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat is sitting just right. Oh, well, I wonder if you could adjust my hat for me, and please, be as ruthless as you like. Thieves deserve to die, if you ask me, especially gas thieves. I have no sympathy for the man at all. Look, I said it yesterday and I'll say it again now. I don't have time for this. I've got my own problems. Oh, may the Lord show us all the light here, and lead his flock to a righteous victory verdict again today. Now, Lord Van Zieks, what can you tell us? The prosecution's report, please, for the court. In relation to the theory expounded by the defense yesterday, regarding the defendant's tea. So he does have the results. Before the prosecution delivers the black news about the black tea belonging to the black god in the dark. Excuse me. Pray, allow me a moment to savor a liquid of a more sanguine hue. In fact, I'll defer to the good detective for the report. Here's to you, Inspector. Yes, sir! Thank you, sir! As indicated by the defense, we found a bar of soap just outside the victim's window in the snow. And there was indeed a frozen reddish liquid and a little impression on the top of it. Yes, that's the tea! That's what Mr. Natsume brought with him that night. Well, the brains of the yacht analyzed it, and yes, you're right, it was tea. And there wasn't a trace of stringing or any other toxic substance in it. No poison at all? In other words, the tea that the defendant brought with him to the victim's room is innocent. It's in the clear. What a revelation! As I suspected. This makes it quite clear. The defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume, is blameless here. My learned friend is jumping to conclusions again. A typical Nipponese reaction. What? Yes, it's true. No poison was found in the drops of liquid recovered from the soap on the window ledge. But what logic is that? Would you take a drop from the Thames and conclude that the water in the ocean isn't salty? My word, the water in the ocean is extremely salty, Counsel. Exactly. Unfit for drinking, just as the victim's tea was on the night in question, as the court has already heard. Based on what? Based on what? Exactly. Bitter was the precise word from the lips of Mr. William Shakespeare, whom the prosecution now calls back to the stand. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's request. Mr. Shakespeare. Yes, it sounds like we're going to have another confrontation with our theatrical friend. Bailiff, show Mr. Shakespeare to the stand. Flies are gonna fall in that thing if you're not careful. Fly into that thing if you're not careful. Although then again, it is the dead of winter, so. Mr. William Shakespeare, the victim of this despicable crime. Oh heaven, oh hell, do you command me to remember? Forsooth, 'twas I, Shakespeare, did have a belly full of the foul fluid given in mine innocence. I'm sorry, yes, but as was revealed in yesterday's proceedings, the witness is not as innocent as we had perhaps first been led to believe. By using bars of soap such as this, he has been stealing gas from the supply company, yes. Oh, may smile and be a villain. Forsooth, 'twas I, Shakespeare, did have a room full of the sweet fuel given. That's right, fellow jurors, don't forget, this man is a rotten thief. I haven't forgotten. Kept all that about the ice coins a tidy secret, didn't you? You should have owned up sooner. Arrest him, I say! Arrest him at once, and let him feel the sting of my tail! Oh, indeed, I dint of vile and cowardly means have I plotted to further mine own ends, I confess. That wouldst not pardon my sins, of that I am sure. If you acknowledge your wrongdoing, what exactly are you doing here? Cowards die many times before their deaths. And for a coward such as I, death be well deserved. But wouldn't that be a still greater crime passeth unpunished? For lo, the hairy-faced gentleman of farther east than Verona did contrive to poison me.
Objection!
But there was no poison in the tea found in your room. The police have attested to that. What the defense would assert is an inconsistency will quickly be cleared up by the witness's testimony. Is that not so, Mr. Shakespeare? Verily, my liege, I would most gladly speak. Very well, let the witness testify to explain this inconsistency. Tell the court why it is that poison apparently entered your body, though none was found in the tea. The tea inconsistency. The Japanese man did come to my chamber with tea brewed in a pot. 'Twas in my cup alone that the wicked miscreant secretly poured his wicked poison. Whilst feigning distraction in our debate, never did a drop of his own drink pass his lips, except for the fact that he attested multiple times that he drank from it. When he departed by and by, I did use the tea that remained in his cup to make my coins of ice. Thus, 'tis no surprise that poison be not found in the tea I did pour into the mold of soap. Okay, which one did he drink from? Okay, so based on this, he's saying that he drank from the green cup. No, wait, he's saying he drank from the purple cup, and so Seki... No, wait a minute. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. There should be two stains there, then. The poison was slipped into the cup after the tea had been poured. The normal way for poison to be administered, in my experience. Quite, otherwise it would be disastrous if the poisoner were to mix up the cups, for instance. But no poison bottle was found at the scene. Because, quite simply, the Nipponese took the bottle back to his own room. The absence of a vessel containing the poison only becomes problematic when considering suicide. Ugh, I knew that. By now it should be perfectly clear. A bar or two of cheap soap is wholly insufficient to wash the deep stains of guilt from the accused's hands. Ah! Sirs, madams, 'tis true that I, Shamspear, be a common thief of gas. But, listen here, ladies and gentlemen. Wherefore would I lie? Verily I have no cause, I am not to lose. Well, I do declare. Thank you for your testimony, witness. Counsel, proceed with a cross-examination. Yes, my lord. I already know generally what I have to do. I'm gonna have to take a look through some more of this. I know I have to present the teacups. That much I know. Japanese man didn't come to my church. My cup alone, the William history is poison. While feigning distraction in our debate, never did a drop past his lips. Okay. I'm going to save here. Because this is going to be a tough one. Hold on, let me take another look. You're part of rice. Surprise.
Objection!
Yep, there we go. You claim that Mr. Natsume didn't drink a drop of tea on the night in question. But that's impossible. How chop logic? What is this, ye dark, ye clad, fiend? The two teacups from the scene, one used by the victim and the other by the defendant, have a clear difference between them. One that represents incontrovertible proof. Incontrovertible? What difference? Look at the inside of the cups, just here. There's clearly a visible ring. Yes, a tea ring. Commonplace enough. Indeed, such stains occur all too readily when one leaves tea in the cup for a while. And yet, Mr. Natsume's cup has no such ring. Good lord, you're right! It's completely clean! And prithee, sir, what makest thou of it? Exactly what Mr. Natsume told the court yesterday. The Japanese saying he quoted. Drink tea while it's hot! That's right, yes. The jittery Mr. Natsume was true to his usual self that night and drank his tea in no time. If, as you claim in your testimony, he didn't touch a drop of his tea, a ring would have developed on the inside of his cup as well after several hours the tea was left standing. But, in short, Mr. Shamspear, you clearly lied to the court. Get the... I don't even know how to pronounce that word.
Objection!
What do you have to say? As a rule, I fill my hallowed chalice up to 7 times during any one trial. You might want to keep that information to yourself. Yet on occasion, tedium distracts me and I pour more times than I intended until the bottle is dry. Your drinking habits are fascinating, but irrelevant. On the contrary, they illustrate the fickleness of human memory. To William Shamspear. Yes, my liege? Though you previously stated that you made the coins of ice from the leftover tea in the accused's cup, could it be that you were perhaps mistaken? Could it be that, yes, perhaps there was some tea remaining in the small teapot left at the scene? What? Perhaps there was some tea remaining. A fact that had vanished from your memory until now. Oh, I see where he's going with this. Faith, my liege, thou art a magician. For verily, 'tis a thou hast seen with thine own eyes that night. What? Forsooth, I was mistook. I did plan to use tea from the Japanese fellow's cup, but lo, when I looked, 'twas empty. Hi, Adam. And thus did I use the dregs that festered in the teapot as my liege did suggest. Actually, you know what? 1 second. Hold on. I'm gonna...
Objection.
Oh, hold up. And you've just suddenly remembered now that you made a mistake before? 1 second. I'm gonna go change that. That's probably gonna be a problem later. Notifications. Okay, I was just fixing some of my notification settings. So let me get back to the, there we go. Are we supposed to believe that?
Objection.
People's memories are imperfect, my learned friend, which is why we rely on evidence instead. But in any case, it makes no difference. The victim's most recent testimony tells us two things of note. Firstly, that the poison was put into the victim's teacup only. And secondly, that this spoiled cup was not the source of the insipid ice coins that have bewitched this court. Okay, now I understood it at first, now I'm confused. The poison was in the teacup, but he drank it from the teacup. Okay, only his drink was poisoned. Okay, yeah. Okay, they're saying that his cup specifically was poisoned. Okay, I got it now. You see, that's why some of this game's problems upset me. I'm an idiot, so when I get something wrong, I just assume I got it wrong. But then it turns out, oh no, I was right the first time. There's just this one tiny little insignificant thing you forgot to do. The prosecution makes a fine summary of the facts. Furthermore, that testimony remains valid and in full support of the established facts. In other words, the inconsistency claimed by the defense simply does not exist. However, that also means that there's no proof saying that Soseki is guilty. There's none! There is no freaking... There's no evidence suggesting that Soseki is guilty. I do declare, it means that there's no issue with the gas thief's testimony. Apart from the bit about thieving gas, obviously. My lords, ladies, and gentlemen of the jury, I do solemnly swear, after I did dine on Grubb's Grubbery Alehouse that night, not did pass my lips, but the black tea given me by the Japanese, whose back I be stooped as low as death.
And on what did you dine, sir?
Why, I did partake of my favorites, a broth as would be called soup, and a leaf as would be called salad. As insalubrious as a menu as the establishment where it was served. But you gods will give us some faults to make us men. Willingly would I suffer what punishment 'tis seen fit to serve a wicked thief of gas. But I pray ye, wise and noble fellows, never forget the simple truth. That be one thing, and this be another. Jurors all, your humble servant Shamspear doth entreat you punish the Japanese fellow for his sins. My lord! What's going on? Oh, okay.
If I may speak, my lord. Yes, Mr. Foreman?
I believe we have, I'm sorry. I believe we may have been duped by that rotten defense lawyer.
By me?
I do declare you may be right. We all know the way there was making coins of ice to keep himself warm. But this loyal lad says if he's stealing gas, he deserves a dose of poison, eh?
He's been leading us up the garden path, that's what he's been doing.
I really never said anything like that.
But what we just heard from the victim there has opened our eyes again. We've reached a decision this time, and we won't be swayed from it.
The court acknowledges the position of the jury foreman, and will duly hear the jury's findings.
What? No! You can't yet!
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your decisions now.
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
I hereby declare the jury to be in one accord. Oh, happy day! He's not gonna stop. Okay. How is this happening? My lord, the defense asserts its right to carry out a summation examination. Very well. The court upholds the defense's right.
Typical. My learned friend is unable to accept the obvious truth.
This trial will therefore enter its second summation examination immediately. Jurors, the court calls upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime of which he is charged. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. If a man of logic, I'm a man of logic and
I'm a man of logic, and having considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty.
Based on what? There's just as much evidence proving he's guilty that there is that he's no. There's just as much evidence to suggest that he's innocent as there is guilty. That being none. At this point, anyway. I do agree that gas is far too expensive. I can quite understand why the man would want to avoid pain. The stuff explodes and it can poison you. It's absolutely lethal, gas is.
Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to deliver around the city and maintain the pipes.
Truth be told, the tea my wife serves up for me is a little sketchy at times. There's nothing else past the victim's lips that night. There's no other explanation, is there? I'm gonna have to press everyone. I do feel that that perhaps personal opinion about gas and its supply has influenced decisions somewhat. But never mind.
No, you really should mind.
The truth is, our counter-argument wasn't as unassailable as we'd hoped. And Mr. Shamspear was poisoned. There can be no doubt of that. Then how are we supposed to turn this around? I think we need to establish the method by which Mr. Shamspear was actually poisoned. Our only hope is to demonstrate that to the court incontrovertibly. But that's surely almost impossible at this stage. If we don't manage it, though, Mr. Natsume will be found guilty. No delays, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. The defense's rebuttal. And press.
Hold it!
All the evidence, you say?
That's right, and there's no room for doubt. It's all pointing at the Japanese man with the big mustache,
Says the Englishman with a bigger mustache. which means we need to show the man some new evidence to make him change his mind. If only we had that kind of evidence. Don't worry, this inmation examination has barely started, really. Perhaps there'll be a shift in the situation that shows an existing piece of evidence in a new light. Let's hope so. To start with, though, I need to find some way out of this deadlock. Okay, gas is too expensive.
Hold it!
This isn't the time or place to be discussing the price of gas, madame. But really, think of the injustice. Air is a gas, and air is free. Why should Altamont gas cost money? It makes my blood boil. I can feel myself becoming more ruthless than ever. This isn't the time or place to be ruthless either. If I might I'm sorry, that was the wrong way. If I might interject here, that's still the wrong voice. Yes, madame? It seems my fellow juror takes issue with the price of our company charges for gas. But it's precisely because of thieves like this man that the cost goes up. Oh, what a beastly man! That unkempt mustache, those hunched shoulders, poisoning tea and stealing gas, utterly unforgivable. No, Mr. Natsume isn't the one who's been stealing gas. I'll thank you not to go adding on more crimes. Mr. Natsume hasn't been poisoning tea either. Well, anyway, I've quite made up my mind. It's as made up as the price of gas. So it explodes and it can poison you. It's absolutely lethal gas.
Hold it!
1 second. Could we please talk about the poison rather than the gas, do you think, sir? Well, if you like, I mean, to be honest, I take poison over gas every time. You take poison? What I mean is, poison can only poison you. It doesn't explode, does it? Goodness me, what are you talking about? Set him straight, please, lawyer man. Well, it's certainly true that poison isn't prone to exploding. But I think you'll find poison also can't light or heat up a room. Ah! You're right! I hadn't considered that at all! Young lawyer man? Yes? You have a good head on your shoulders. We could use someone like you as our gas company's legal representative. Well, I wasn't expecting to pick up more business in the middle of a trial, that's for sure. Anyway, the point is I haven't had the best experience with gas companies in the past. Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to deliver it around the city and maintain the pipes.
Hold it!
Can we please refrain from all this talk of gas? There's an all-out attack underway here. There's an all-out attack underway here, in case you hadn't noticed, against my company's gas. And I'm supposed to sit here and take it, am I? I don't think so. She's really buzzing now. All I've heard about your wonderful fuel is explosions and poisonings. What about electricity, What about getting electrocuted? What about that? A little explosion here and there is nothing in comparison. Any explosion could hardly be described as nothing, madame. Nevertheless, the theft of your gas is deplorable. I keep using the wrong voice, I'm sorry. My point exactly, but the gas thieves aren't even the worst of our enemies. We have far more devious reprobates to contend with on a daily basis, you know. More devious? Who, madame? Other gas companies, of course. Other gas companies? Not quite what I was expecting. We generate gas and we deliver it to our customers fair and square. Indeed, nobody is questioning that, madame. Altamont is an exemplary gas company. But there are other unscrupulous gas companies here in London that don't even have any gas at all. What? But if they don't have any gas, how do they go about selling it to people? 1 second. I'm back. You wouldn't think it possible, would you? But they steal our gas, you see, and sell that. They steal your gas? How on earth is such a thing possible? Gas companies like ours deliver gas to people's homes via a network of pipes. But these devious reprobates secretly disconnect our pipes and divert our gas into their own rotten pipes. Then they make a contract with the household supplied by those pipes and take money for the precious gas that's rightfully ours without us even knowing. They're diverting gas into their own pipes illegally? What a brazen form of theft! When we visit customers' houses to collect the money for their meters, we always have to check whether or not one of these devious companies has been up to its tricks. What is that face you're making, sir? Sir, what is that face you're making?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, juror number 3? Oh golly, you mean me? I'm terribly sorry. I was just thinking to myself. I really did catch him off guard there. Thinking about what the lady next to you was saying, correct? Well, yes. I just got a little riled up about it recently, you see? Go on. An Altamont gas worker visited my house the other day to investigate the pipe work. We need to ask for your cooperation while we carry out a secret check of your property, sir, the fellow said. So I let him in, and do you know what he did? I'm, afraid I have no idea. Please, tell us. He proceeded to take one of my lights off the wall. Then he grabbed the exposed mouth of the pipe and started blowing into it. What do you think you're doing, young man? You're giving away company secrets there. Oh, please, everybody knows, but it was very nearly the death of me, I can tell you. What do you mean? I'll explain if you don't mind. As I said before, these unscrupulous other gas companies connect their customers to our pipe network. Yes, but how does blowing into the pipes come into it? Obviously, there's gas in the pipes, and it's at a fairly low pressure. By blowing air through the pipe, you can make the pressure drop temporarily. And if you do that, any lights connected to the same pipe will flicker for a moment. Oh, I see. In other words, that's wrong voice. If upon blowing into the pipe, the lights on adjacent property that has no contract with the company flicker, you can know that these devious scoundrels have been meddling with the pipes. Exactly, my lord. That's it in a nutshell. It's the reason why we have teams of workers going around neighborhoods to investigate which lights flicker. The trouble is, the particular worker who came to my house didn't know the strength of his own breath. He blew down the pipe with all his might, and can you guess what happened? And you can guess what happened, can't you? Well, if he blew hard, then... Wait, you mean... That's right, the lights didn't just flicker, they went out! Along with the stove, gas started pouring into the house! What a disaster! The gas supply must have been interrupted briefly because the man blew too hard, so the flames went out. I'm afraid I yelled at the fellow. Are you trying to kill us all, I said? So by disconnecting a lamp and blowing into the exposed gas pipe, it's possible to extinguish lamps in stoves connected to the same network of pipes. And then when the gas starts flowing again, it just silently seeps into the room. Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps... Yes, this is almost certainly the clue that we've been hoping for. Juror number 3, the defense requests that you amend your statement to include that information. Oh, well, if you like, I don't mind. Well, I do! That's our company's secret method of identifying the rogues that tried... Like I said, madame, it's widely known already. Very well, juror number 3. You will amend your statement accordingly. Yes, my lord. Although I'm not really sure what the point of all this is. Go too hard into a gas pipe and you extinguish everything in the house, and then you're in real trouble. I'm gonna see if that contradicts anything. I see! I see now! Okay! To be told, the tea my wife serves up for me is a little sketchy at times.
Hold it!
You mean it's poisoned? That's right. It's happened a tiny few times now. This is most troubling indeed. It's always days. Oh, 1 second. There's always days like this one when I don't get any wages. I get in at tea time, see? And I see her doing it, my wife. She gets that devilish look on her face, and she slips some white powder into my cup. I think that's sugar. And you drink it anyway? I was brought up proper, I was. If someone gives you a cuppa, you drink it. And what happened to you? What did it taste like? It was god-awful, believe you me. Salty as hell. Oh. So the white substance was salt. Then I think perhaps what your wife put into your tea was salt. No! So, she doesn't even care enough to poison me properly, eh? Unbelievable! I don't know what voice I'm trying to give these people anymore. Let's move on, please. If nothing else passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation, is there?
Hold it!
Does that mean that the victim could be shown to have ingested something else? Could you change your leaning? Sorry? What's that now? Oh, I was just saying, if the victim did actually eat or drink something else on that night... What's the matter with you? Sorry? I said, if nothing else passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation, is there? Haven't you been listening to me at all? I feel there's an English expression about a pot and a kettle that's appropriate here. Compared to the other jurors who don't even appear to have anything to say about the case at all, it would seem that this elderly gentleman has been listening to the proceedings far more intently. I suppose the trouble is, he has selective hearing? Exactly, but still, this juror may well be the key to the breakthrough that we so desperately need. Ugh, this is hopeless. There's no way for me to appeal to these people. I do think that the only way we shall overcome this difficult situation is by exposing the way in which Mr. Shamspeare was really poisoned. We have to prove that it happened some other way and not via Mr. Natsume's tea. Yes, I know. The trouble is, I have absolutely no idea how it did happen. Mr. Naruhodo, I wonder if perhaps there's something you might have forgotten. Oh, like what? It's important to watch everyone involved and pursue people if they react to something someone else says. Yeah, I've already done that. If you'd like me to remind you exactly what I mean, I'd be more than happy to, of course. No, I'm good. Once again, Sasaki-san's fate is entirely in my hands here. I probably owe it to my client to hear any advice that Natsume may offer, so perhaps I don't know if Saza... No. No need! Actually, I don't think there's any need. It's vital that we start trying to change these jurors' minds as soon as possible. Of course, I'm sure you're right. But if you decide you would like your memory refreshed, you need only ask, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay. So I'm not entirely sure what it is I have to do. I'm gonna save. Like I said, I'm an idiot here. I think what I have to do is I have to pit juror number 3 with juror number 6. I think. I can't present evidence here, so I guess that's my only option.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good gracious! Those, to whose statements do you refer, counsel?
Juror number 6, did you hear what juror number 3 just said?
What? Yes, of course.
I heard him mumbling about something or other. There is another explanation here, I believe. Something besides Mr. Natsume's tea did, in a manner of speaking, pass the victim's lips on the night in question.
What? What explanation?
I wonder, did the police check the mouth of the gas pipe feeding the wall at the scene to see if there were any traces of poison there?
I was curious to see what your floundering would result in this time, but the mouth of a gas pipe? Scotland Yard have enough to do without exploring such irrelevance. What a piece of work is a man!
What are you trying to say, Mr. Chancellor?
What speaketh thou? Prithee, is it not strange and strange? That is what I say to thee, sir.
I thought I'd been quite clear, but let me put it another way. The stringing could have been on the mouth of the gas pipe that feeds the wall lamp in your room. And that is how the poison came to enter your body.
Good lord!
Are they tasty then, gas pipes? Is that what he's saying? Or is the gentleman suggesting that the poor man was so desperately hungry he tried to fill his belly with gas? Perhaps no actress would perform a kiss scene with him then. Hmm? For shame, madame! Speaking thy fancy. I assure you, I am not such a buffoon that I have to kiss pipe.
Objection! This is no summation examination. This is a farce. The prosecution will not stand for any more of my learned Nipponese friend's conjecture. To begin with, the lamp in the victim's room is high on the wall. In order to have placed his lips on the pipes that feeds it, he would have to be a contortionist. These are empty assertions.
That's the second one you threw it in the last minute.
There is no possible proof that the man did as you say.
Objection!
It's true, I have no proof that Mr. Chancellor put his lips on the pipe. However, I can say with some certainty that on multiple occasions, Mr. Chancellor has been doing something in front of the lamp on his wall. And I have evidence to prove it. Alright, you've got your attention, lad. I'd like to see how you can be so sure of yourself. So would I. Let's see this evidence then. Now that I've got the jury's ear, I need to make this opportunity count. This is the proof that, time and time again, Mr. Chancellor stood in front of his gas lamp.
Take that!
What the? These are... wait, what are they called?
Yes! Skin prints!
That were found at the scene. Skin prints, counsel? I've never heard of such things. The Justice Ministry is clearly assessing whether or not to merit fingerprints as evidence in court, however. My lord, this is an exciting new forensic technique developed by the great detective Herlock Sholmes. It reveals all of the places that Mr. Chancellor touched in his room.
I've never seen anything like it! I mean, that's black magic, isn't it?
Well, if anyone could invent something like this, it's a great Sholmes fellow, that's for sure. I agree. This month's edition of Engineering Thumbs was quite fascinating. We found skin prints in many places that you would expect. On the table, on the costumes. However, Mr. Chancellor also appears to have been touching some very unexpected places in his room. For example, here. Around the hanging picture there. Around the hanging picture there? Indeed, multiple handprints appear to be visible. I wonder, could he have been appreciating the artwork, perhaps? At first, my colleagues and I thought the same. However, imagine standing with your hands where those prints are, and you would find yourself directly in front of... Ah! I don't believe it! The gas lamp! Though the reason why isn't immediately obvious, it's clear that Mr. Shansphere has regularly been standing on his hands to the wall in front of that lamp.
Right! What have you been up to, you nut?
I'd ask the court to recall juror number 4's earlier statement. Me? What did I say? You said that blowing into a gas pipe would make the lights in the entire building flicker. And now, if you'll recall juror number 3's statement... What? Me now? When the gas worker who visited his room blew with too much force into the pipe, he caused all the lights and the gas stove to go out, and gas to start leaking into the rooms. Obviously, that incident was an accident. However, the simple fact is, if Mr. Shansphere were to have blown hard into the gas pipe here in his room, he could have extinguished every other light and gas stove in the building at will.
Crikey!
Are you suggesting that the man purposefully caused the gas to...
Objection! While saying no, that the prosecution is required to remain silent during today's examination, that hasn't stopped you at all! I must toast my learned friend utter disregard for the letter of the law. What is the meaning of this, Lord Van Zieks? This curious photograph, or whatever it is, presented by the defense, the so-called skin prints. Clearly, that cannot be accepted as any form of usable evidence in this case. But it's an exciting new forensic technique developed by a great detective. It's nothing. A mere toy developed by an amateur sleuth with too much time on his hands.
Clearly, certainly, even research of this nature by the esteemed Mr. Sholmes cannot be recognized by the court as formal evidence.
Hold it!
But, please, my lord, if I may, Miss Usato, it was not the defense's intention to submit the skin prints as formal evidence. We merely wished to present the results of the great detective's investigation of the scene, as a tool by which to explain a possibility to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And if the trial were to come to an end now, we should never learn the truth behind these mysterious handprints that everyone has now seen. I don't believe we can allow that to happen, and I'm sure the jurors would agree. I'm starting to feel lightheaded from all this talking. You're right! Whether those strange handprints are a significant clue or not, it's down to us to decide. Juror number 3! Oh yes, I do declare, the great detective's investigation results sound absolutely fascinating. And I want to hear what that shady actor fellow has to say about those shady handprints.
What's the matter with you two? That was foolhardy!
Well, I did say it, didn't I? And I don't like to break a promise.
No, wait! You heard his lordship! It's not...
There's half.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo!
If just one more juror changes his or her mind,
Mr. Natsume's trial will have to continue!
Thank you, Mrs. Sato, but I couldn't have done it without you. Oh no, it was you who identified the clue after all. This is very much your success.
Oh, he's nervous now.
Why, Mr. Shansphere? Why, Mr. Shansphere? You seem to be losing your composure. Just one more juror, Mr. Naruhodo.
You can do it! Very well, continue, Counsel. That was the wrong voice. Well, all I'm doing is stating the text and complaining that I'm using the wrong voice. I need to stop that. All the evidence then must be considered guilty. Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to deliver it around the city maintaining pipes. To be told, my sketchy. I honestly don't know what the next move is. Salt in the tea. Gas doesn't come for free. Another company stealing gas. Man of logic and having considered all the evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty. Oh, I can't pit someone who's already declared not guilty against each other. Let's press this again. We never saw it to the end. They're diverting gas into their own pipes illegally? What a brazen form of theft! I had no idea. It's almost unbelievable. It might seem unbelievable to you, but it's happening all the time, right here in the capital. It's very difficult selling something you can't see, you know. Very difficult indeed. Thank you, that will do. Clearly this is a very involved subject, but I'm sorry, but I feel we have digressed rather too much already. I concur, though if my learned friend wishes to become an expert in gas, I believe the subject will suit him well. To your new career in nothingness. Thank you so much. Make sure. Ugh, excuse me. Doesn't come for free. All the evidence the defendant must logically be guilty. I can do that now. I can't present anything. A man of logic me, and having considered all the evidence the defendant must logically be guilty. I'm gonna save again. Actually, you don't. This is. I just have this feeling that I have to pit juror number 1 against juror number 5. It's probably wrong, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Yeah, that's wrong. Whoop. Hold on, actually, let's press him again.
Hold it!
All the evidence you say? That's right, and there's no room for doubt. It's all pointing to that Japanese man with a big mustache. says the Englishman with the bigger mustache. But the defense just demonstrated another possible explanation for the events on that night in question. What do you make of that? What? Your so-called skin prints? It's an exciting new forensic... Okay, so this is apparently what I had to do, and I'm an idiot. I just kind of assumed that if it was as easy as that, then they would have just included this dialogue in with all the bits where the three of them change their verdict. The numerous handprints on the wall are clearly out of the ordinary. And if Mr. Shamspeare had indeed put his mouth to the gas pipe on the night in question, it can't be denied that there's a possibility that's where the poison was. Well, yes, I won't deny that it's playing on my mind. But as the prosecution rightly said, we should pay no heed to unacceptable forms of evidence. And besides, yes, even if the fellow has been up to some mischief with the gas pipe dozens of times before, it doesn't mean he got up to the same shenanigans on the night in question, does it? Oh. If you can't make your case better than that, I'm afraid I can't change my stance. You do make a very valid point, sir. What? Is she changing it again? No, wait! Look, you've got your chance here, haven't you? So it's time to prove your theory. If you and your Japanese cohorts can, that is. Just leave our nationality out of this, please. Mr. Naruhodo, if you can't substantiate our position, I'm afraid the jurors that changed their minds before may very well change them back. What can I do? Is there any more proof I can give here? Can I show that Mr. Shamspeare really did blow down the gas pipe on the night in question? I can't prove it. I can present evidence. I have supporting testimony. Supporting testimony? From who? The only thing I can think of is Mr. Garrity. No, in truth, I don't have evidence to support my theory. However, there is witness testimony that substantiates it. There is? Witness testimony? This is incredible! Whose testimony? Yes, it's all connected. Everything is linked. A person whose testimony revealed details about the gas in Garrity's residence that night, namely... Meterman?
Take that!
Well, Mr. Foreman, does that convince you? Yeah, okay. Like I said, I'm an idiot, and my logic is wrong. Though it does seem to be leaning towards testimony. But whose testimony? Again, it's been a couple weeks. I'm going with Garrity again.
Take that!
Okay, yeah. It has been 2 weeks since the last trial. It has been a week since the last investigation. Maybe it's Oseki. He's always complaining about how, like, these things come out at him and try to, like, suffocate him.
So maybe it's him. I mean, because that's definitely the cause. The fact that that this guy, Shamspear, is blowing into the gas pipe, turning everything out and causing gas to leak into Soseki's, well, the entire building, but also into Soseki's room. Actually, Gyaradeep said that there's, like, other kinds of foul play at work.
Take that!
There we go, we got it. Obviously, I'm talking about the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume himself. It only took me 3 tries! The defendant? At the very beginning of the proceedings here in court yesterday, Mr. Natsume said the following. My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings! Even on that fateful night it happened! When I returned from Mr. Shamspear's room, I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me! On the night in question, the gas in the defendant's room went out. So I asked the court, was that mere coincidence or not? Good golly! So that Shamspear fellow blew air into the gas pipe to make the man's stove go out on purpose? Now hold your horses there. What would he do that for? Mr. Foreman. What is it, man? We can't allow judgment to be passed whilst this doubt remains. It's true that I don't have conclusive evidence yet. However, you must surely agree there is more to this case than meets the eye. Arrgh! Fair enough. Like I said at the outset, I'm a man of logic, first and foremost. That's 4 jurors leaning towards not guilty, my lord. We've overturned the decision. Therefore, the defense calls for the trial to continue. I like how the mouse turns his head, too. As the defense has rightfully indicated, the summation examination has concluded with a majority of jurors altering their decisions. Two members of jury now called guilty, 4 are now called not guilty. Therefore, the jury's opinion is conflicted, and in accordance with the law of this land, I hereby order the continuation of this trial. Mr. William Shamspear. My lord, how can thy humble Shamspear serve thee? What say you in response to the various revelations made during the summation examination? So God amend me, I do solemnly swear, I recall aught of either the lamp or the pipe. But your handprint, I'm sorry, that, I wish I could just frickin' talk. But your handprints have made a tiny mess all over the wall there. How do you explain that, eh? I am done with this. The dignity of this great courtroom has been sullied enough already, juror number 5. Ooh, me? As I went to some pains to point out already, a print from the self-professed detective's toy has no place in a British court of law. As such, whether or not this man did indeed stand before the gas lamp with his hands against the wall remains at this time unestablished conjecture. You would all do well to remember that.
Objection!
But the prosecution must concede that it would be extremely simple to verify. Just order the mouth of the gas pipe feeding that lamp into Mr. Shamspear's room to be examined. If there are traces of poison there.
Objection!
What appears to be extremely simple is my Nipponese friend. My Nipponese friend's mind. You will call that in order to check for the presence of poison in the tea, some remnants of tea were required. Yes? Therefore, it should be beyond your wit to imagine that even if poison were to have been spread on the pipe, it would have completely evaporated by now, making any analysis impossible. I didn't think of that. In any case, counsel, I failed to see what could possibly have motivated the man to do as you described. Why on earth would this fellow have wanted to blow air into the gas pipe where he lived? There is one possibility that I can think of, and that is, I think I know what the answer is. I'm pretty sure I know what the answer is, but you never know with this game. To use the leaking gas to commit murder. Okay, I wasn't going in that direction necessarily. Order! Order! Council! Precisely whose life do you propose this man was plotting to end? The answer couldn't be simpler. Now we've unraveled the mystery thus far. Mr. Shansphere wanted to end the life of...
Take that!
If a gas lamp were to go out, it would be noticed immediately, of course. But a gas stove, on the other hand, could be silently extinguished by the killer without anyone noticing. I live around those parts myself, so I know what it's like. I can tell you, trying to sleep without the stove lit is pretty much suicide. You'd freeze to death in no time. Mr. Garrity, the landlord, has a large fireplace in his in his part of the residence on the top floor. In other words, it wasn't the landlord, but a fellow lodger whose life Mr. Shansphere was trying to end. Outrageous! I'm talking, of course, about the defendant. Mr. Natsume isn't the villain in this case. He's the victim this man was trying to murder! Good gracious!
Objection!
The accused is actually the aggrieved? Interesting. However, the fundamental fact of the case remains unchanged. Namely, that the accused is the aggressor here. What? How can you still claim that? Let us indulge your fancies for a moment and assume that there was indeed poison on the mouth of the gas pipe. The question that then arises is, who put it there? Who did put it there? The only logical conclusion is that the person responsible was aware of this man's trickery with a gas supply and his intent to kill.
Yes, that would indeed seem logical. If the assailant were unaware, how would he or she have known to lace the end of the gas pipe with poison?
So now we must ask, how could anyone have known of Mr. Shansphere's murderous designs? Ah, you mean to suggest? Naturally, the sole possible answer to that question couldn't be more obvious. Only the man whose life was being threatened could possibly have known. What? In other words, the person who put the poison on the gas pipe in what was clearly a retaliatory attack can only have been the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Ah! Whatever Mr. William Shansphere may or may not have contrived to do, he was nevertheless the victim of a potentially lethal poison attack. And the only person who could possibly have perpetrated that attack is the accused, Mr. Natsume. The defense counsel's theorizing has failed to avert suspicion from the accused. Far from it. Excuse me. In fact, now that a clear motive for the poisoning has been successfully established, that suspicion is greater than ever. Would you not agree, my Nipponese friend? How did he manage to turn that around on me so rapidly? Mr. Naruhodo, you must respond. Otherwise, the members of the jury may very well change their leanings against us again. And this may be our last chance to gain the advantage. What advantage? Well, it would seem that somebody put poison on the gas pipe in Mr. Shakespeare's room. So we must name that person now and absolve Mr. Natsume of guilt. You mean name the true culprit? I know it might sound impossible, but if we fail to do that, I have no doubt that Mr. Natsume's fate will be sealed once and for all. As it happens, one possible culprit does come to mind. Same here. The evidence, the poison, is all pointing to a particular person now. The prosecution calls for the jury to consider their leanings again. I trust you'll make the correct choice this time, Mr. Foreman. What? Oh, don't you worry. We know exactly what... There is one other person who I believe could have been involved in all of this. The true culprit of this crime. I'm gonna save again, just in case. The true culprit? A term found only in second-rate novels featuring third-rate great detectives, my Nipponi's friend. But why not? This farce has gone on for so long already, I see no reason to cut it short before its disappointing climax. Thank you. Tell us, my learned Nipponi's friend, what is your latest theory? Who is the so-called true culprit of the crime?
Take that!
I'm wrong, aren't I? You claim this person is the true culprit? Highly suspicious, I would say, yes. Perhaps, my learned Nipponi's friend, you should turn those wide eyes of suspicion on yourself. What? For it seems to me that your reckless reasoning makes you far more than... Alright. Okay. The true culprit of the crime. Could it? No, she couldn't have. She was in the hospital. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Take that!
The name. Oh! Holy shit! This is the right direction to go. The name of the person responsible for the poison that afflicted Mr. Shakespeare, I believe. Miss Olive Green. Miss Olive Green? Miss Olive Green. I do feel as though I've heard that name in recent past, Council, but I don't recall where. Miss Olive Green? The woman from 6 days ago? The victim in the recent case of stabbing on Briar Road? An incident for which Mr. Natsume was arrested, I hasten to add. Oh, of course, yes, Miss Green. She was left comatose for some 3 days, I believe, but I hear she regained consciousness 2 days ago. And I hardly need to remind the court that Mr. Shakespeare's poisoning took place 3 days ago. Given that the woman was lying comatose in a hospital bed at the time, she appears to have a rather fine alibi. True, on the night the incident occurred, Miss Green was in hospital unconscious. So on the face of it, it would seem that she couldn't possibly be responsible, but still. My colleagues and I visited Miss Green in hospital yesterday, and we found her to be in possession of a bottle of poison. Good gracious, she had poison?
And there is another fact that links Miss Green to this case as well. The defense requests that she be brought to the witness stand in order to explain the details of the court. Tell me, Mr. Shamspeare.
My lord, pray, what be thy bidding?
Are you acquainted with Miss Green?
No, never heard of her.
Yes, you did! Judging by the look on Shamspeare's face, I think perhaps he genuinely doesn't know her, at least not by name.
As the voice of Her Majesty's prosecution here, I adhere to my word. We will see my learned Nipponese friends forced through to its conclusion.
I appreciate that.
The prosecution requests a short recess, my lord, in order to subpoena the witness and bring her here.
Yes, Miss Olive Green.
Indeed, my lord. 1 hour should be sufficient.
Very well, I grant the request.
Excellent, I hope.
The defense has made a most extraordinary accusation, I must say. But at the present time, I feel the prosecution's argument remains largely uncontested. Accordingly, I'm afraid the defendant and its culpability remain the sole subject of this court's attention. Thank you, counsels. We reconvene in 1 hour. Court is adjourned. To be continued! Alright. So, in the next stream, I should rephrase that. The next time we'll be playing Great Ace Attorney 2 will be next week, next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we shall continue the trial of Soseki Natsume. But in between now and then, on Saturday, I'm very sorry. On Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we shall be continuing and possibly finishing our live streams for Mass Effect Legendary Edition, as there's not much left to the game. It might be a bit of a longer stream. I honestly don't know. It's either going to be the last stream or the second to last Mass Effect stream. Once again, that'll be happening on Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Alright, I will see you guys then.